Put me in the game on 4th inches. Coach, put me in the game on 4th inches.
Welcome back, college football fans. I'm William Caldwell. This is Nick Caldwell. Welcome to the 4th and Inches podcast show. This is our first preseason show for this year, 2019. And we have a whole lot to talk about as the season gets underway. First, we're going to talk about the favorite teams that may reach the college football playoffs. And we're looking at the top 10. Through most polls, if you check them out, they'll coincide with these numbers in this order. You can read them off for us, Nick.
Number 1, Clemson. 2, Alabama. 3, Georgia. Number 4, Oklahoma. 5, Ohio State. 6, LSU. 7, Michigan. 8, Florida. 9, Notre Dame. 10, Texas. So, as you can see, not a whole lot of surprises in the top 10, at least not in the top 5 or 6. Now, that bottom 10 is a whole different story. I wouldn't have Texas that high, but that's just me personally.
And also, the polls, preseason polls, are pretty much meaningless until the games start. As the great Ert Russell would say, when he was with the Bulldogs, well, you know what a dog do to a poll. And then when he joined the Georgia Southern Eagles, he said the Eagle even had more of an advantage than the dog when it comes to a poll.
That's funny. All right, so with the poll being out right now, and everybody's making their own predictions who they feel like gonna be in that last 4, who do you have right now?
Right now, I don't think it's going to be 2 SEC teams. I don't think it's going to be. A lot of people have Alabama, Clemson, Georgia. Everybody has them 3, maybe not in that order. Clemson 1, Alabama 2, Georgia 3. I don't think it'll be 2 SEC teams in the Final 4. Whoever wins the SEC championship game is automatically going to be in it, I figure. Whether that's Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Auburn, or could be a sleeper.
I definitely feel like the SEC champ gonna get in, but like you said, it's gonna be hard to get 2 of them in there. Because the only way that I see that you can get 2 teams in there is every other conference except the ACC got to have a 2-win champion. Because that's how it happened last time. But me personally, I got to say Clemson because they got the easiest schedule. The winner of the SEC, either Alabama or Georgia. And don't sleep on LSU. LSU could absolutely upset both of them teams. And then I got to favor Oklahoma over Texas just because Oklahoma has pretty much owned Texas here lately. And I'm going with Michigan because if Michigan is going to beat Ohio State, it's got to be right now. If not, then what did you pay Jim Harbaugh for?
I think Ohio State still beats Michigan. Ohio State has a lot coming back, although Urban Meyer is gone, and they do lose their quarterback. But I'm not saying Justin Fields is going to come in and do what Dwayne Haskins did, but I think he'll do enough.
It's going to be tough, though, because he lost, say, four of his top 5 receivers from last year are gone. And the one that's coming back, he didn't start, but he was number 2 in receiving yards last year. The one plus he got on offense, though, is he got that receiver back, KJ Hill, and he also got Dobbins back. And Dobbins is coming off of back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. He did that while splitting time. So they got talent. They're just going to have to prove it.
Yeah, there's a lot of unproven talent on all these teams where you got replacing starters, people that left early, even people that transferred.
Right.
And the transfer portal is something we're going to have to discuss. It's pretty much NCAA has turned into free agency for college football players. If you don't like what's going on, if you sitting on the bench, you can go put your name in the transfer portal. I want to go to another team.
I really wouldn't care if they allowed it for everybody. But you can't pick and choose who to let play, who not let play. If you let Justin Fields and take Martell go, but then somebody like Luke Ford, who has a real family issue going on, you tell him, oh, no, we're not going to allow you to play. And it's another guy that transferred to Virginia Tech, and they told him because it's 10 miles outside of 100 miles from his house that he couldn't get a hardship waiver. Like, if anybody should get one, it should be him. Like, his mama is pretty much going through cancer treatment right now. Like, That's crazy to me. I feel like if you're gonna do it, let everybody play.
I agree.
Whatever happened.
I agree. It should be a level playing field for everybody. In extenuating circumstances, it shouldn't be a judgment call. Anytime you have human beings making judgments calls, somebody's going to be left out.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're just gonna do briefly our top 10. We're gonna break down the top 10, and starting with the question marks they have and the advantages they have coming into the season. Starting with number 10, Texas.
Coming out the bowl game, they had a great bowl game. They beat Georgia. So a lot of the hype that they had coming into this season is based on that bowl game win. Their quarterback is good, but they still have question marks. Like their team as a whole still has question marks. And until they beat Oklahoma, I can't see them beating Oklahoma.
Well, I'm looking at Texas, and my sources tell me Texas offensively they must replace 4 starters on the offensive line, and the game of football is decided in the trenches. Even though Allenger's coming back, great quarterback, he's a big team leader, and he's gonna make plays. But 4 offensive linemen gonna come in and that production they lost. They got a lot of elite talent. They recruited real well, but they lost 8 starters on defense also.
It's gonna be hard to replace that.
So you talking about a lot of people that's gone that played a lot of minutes.
Question marks.
Right. Moving to number 9, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish.
Notre Dame is always one of the most overhyped teams to me every year. But hey, the last couple of years though, I mean they played everybody on the schedule. They've beaten almost everybody on the schedule. They even almost upset Georgia that year. Well, I think they was favored because they was home.
They were favored.
We're going to see what they really got this year though, because they got to come to Athens. So Notre Dame one of the teams that they're going to have to really prove it on the field this season anyway.
2 years ago, when Georgia went to Notre Dame, Georgia wasn't the Georgia that they would become later in the season. That game sort of springboarded Jake Fromm and the Bulldogs. They built momentum off of that game. Georgia hadn't even been on the national stage until they won that game.
Right.
And that put Georgia back into hey, Georgia can win these big games, and that gave them a lot of confidence. Notre Dame returned 7 starters, 7 on offense, 6 on defense, and plus their starting quarterback. So they'll be a formidable opponent for anyone.
Right.
But the schedule is a little different this year for Notre Dame.
Right.
Coming to Athens, and there's somebody else I can't remember right offhand, but their schedule is a lot tougher this year. If they go through that, they got a chance to be in the playoff if they can run the table.
Right, but they have to run the table.
They have to run the
table. They
table.
don't have a conference championship
Right.
game.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M might be the most improved team this year, and still have either the same record or a worse record. They got to have, in my opinion, they have the toughest schedule in college football. They have to play Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and Texas. And Auburn. Man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard.
Especially those games on the road, it's gonna be really tough. At home with the 12 man, I give them as good a chances anyway. But on the road, in some of them venues they gotta go to,
At Death Valley, between the hedges.
they got 7 starters back on offense, but only 4 starters back on defense.
Their defense wasn't good no way.
Yeah, but hey, if they'd have came back, they'd have been improved though with a year experience.
Yeah, got a point.
I got LSU at number 7. LSU.
I forgot you got the USA Today poll. So LSU is an interesting team because they finally have a quarterback that people can believe in with Joe Burrow, and he's decent. I can't say he's great, but he's a decent college quarterback. And if he can take that next step, then a lot of those close games that they lost last year, they probably can win this year. So they can beat Florida, because I believe they have Florida at home this year. So they should be able to beat Florida this year. And then the Texas A&M game, when it's 7 overtimes, when you get like that, anybody can win a game. But the Alabama game is gonna be the one for them, like it is every year. If you really and truly gonna try to challenge for a conference championship and a national championship, you have to beat Alabama.
LSU has 16 starters back, probably the most of everybody in the SEC.
I think so.
8 on offense, 8 on defense. The starting quarterback is back. The problem with LSU is their offense is not that the quarterback is they won't open up their offense. They have to come into the modern age of football and put points on the board. You just can't rely on a great defense to win championship. The defense will keep you in the game, but you still have to score on in today's football.
Right. Yeah, Michigan. I got Michigan at number 7 over here. Like I said earlier, man, if it was any year for Michigan to beat Ohio State, it's this year. Ohio State lost a lot of talent off their team, a lot of experience, rather, because they still have talent. But Michigan, man, this is your second year with Shea Patterson. You opened the offense up, opened it up last year, and this year they running pretty much the full spray offense, so they're going to open it up even more. Your defense is always good. This got to be a year, man. Like, I could look at your schedule and say, oh, Mississippi, you got Michigan State, whoever, Notre Dame, whatever. It's going to come down to the Ohio State game. Can you beat Ohio State or not? Is the only question I have for Michigan the rest of the year.
Michigan has to be careful not to have a hiccup. Michigan State is loaded. The rivalry game, anything can happen. And, of course, Ohio State will decide it if they make it through the last game of the year.
Right. Speaking of Ohio State, number 5, Ohio State.
I don't know what you like about Ohio State and where the question's at.
The question on offense. Their defense should be pretty good. They have a lot of returning players out of their 2D. You know, they lost a few to the NFL. They lost their 2 starting corners, actually, to the NFL. But they secondary has been so deep the last probably 5-6 years that they just replace. They just plug and replace back there. So my questions for Ohio State is going to be on offense. Because like I said, they lost 4 of their top 5 receivers. They lost their number 2 running back. The quarterback's gone. And even though Justin Fields has all this talent, all this hype around him, until you do it, you ain't done it. You know what I mean? Nobody felt like Dwayne Haskins was going to do what he did, but look at what he did, though. He came in to replace J.T. Barrett, and the offense looked much better with him than J.T. Barrett. Nobody saw that coming. So it's not easy to replace a top 10, top 15 pick in the NFL draft like that. So we're going to see what he's going to do, man.
Ohio State, like you said, they got a lot on defense coming back. 9 starters pretty much. Mm-hmm. But 4 starters on offense, including the transfer quarterback, Justin Fields, who really hasn't done anything on the college level yet.
Right.
So I don't know if I have Ohio State ranked this high with only 4 starters back and an unproven quarterback, even though he got top talent. But the talent has to materialize on the field.
And only 2 of them starters on the offensive line.
And that's even just as bad. Let's move to number 4.
The Oklahoma Sooners. Jalen Hurts was named as a starting quarterback, which is everybody expected that when he transferred to begin with. I've seen people hyping and saying, could Jalen Hurts possibly be the 3rd consecutive winner of the Heisman at Oklahoma? To be honest, he got a chance. Do I think he will? No. I didn't think Kyler Murray was going to win it either. It's hard to win the Heisman Trophy. I mean, a lot of it is popularity and campaigning, and then on top of that, you do have to have a decent amount of numbers to go with it.
Yeah, Oklahoma offense is going to put up numbers, but it probably won't be the same passing numbers they had the last 2 years, but Jalen Hurts probably going to put more rushing numbers on them. And it could be just as effective.
Kyler Murray almost had 1,000-yard running last year, though.
Jalen Hurts could get 1,000.
He could. I think Jalen Hurts is a better runner than Kyler Murray is, but I think Kyler Murray is a better passer. Now, they say Jalen Hurts has developed even into a better passer, and in Oklahoma's offense, he's going to have to be. So we're gonna see. We're gonna get to see it all year.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to coaching and execution. Ohio State has, let's see, Oklahoma has how many people back on defense? That's the question. And in the Big 12, they don't play much defense.
I was gonna say, you gonna mention Oklahoma's defense?
Well, you got to. If you're trying to win a championship, you're gonna get in the playoffs. You're gonna have to stop somebody.
When I see them play defense, I'll mention it.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be a good year for everybody out. Number 3, Georgia Bulldogs. They've been to the top of the mountain, but they have not been able to climb on the top and be the king. They've got to look over. They like Martin Luther King. They got to see the promised land, but they didn't get there with us yet.
Oh man, Georgia, to me, in my opinion, has the best offensive line coming back in college football. They lose one starter, but the starter that they lost is being replaced by a guy that's 30, 40 pounds heavier, and some say he might end up being the best offensive lineman prospect out of all of them that they have right now. So the offensive line is not going to be a problem. The running backs, they keep it stable. The question mark on their whole team is going to be at wide receiver. Like Ohio State, they lost their top 5 receiving threats from last season.
The whole receiver core is gone.
They lost 4, and they had J.J. Holloman back, and he ended up being dismissed for the team from other reasons. But the talent is there, just like at every other school. The talent is there. But can they put that talent with the experience, and can Jake Fromm bring those guys along fast enough to get them where they want to go this year?
Other question mark for Georgia: replace both coordinators. So it's going to be interesting to see if James Coley, he's promising to open up the offense. You know, Georgia, of course, Georgia's not going to reinvent the wheel, as Kirby Smart said. We run the ball, and with that big offensive line, I don't care what Kirby Smart says. He's going to run the football. With that big offensive line and DeAndre Swift back there, Brian Herring, Samir White, the Bulldogs will run the ball.
Kenny McIntosh.
But you still have to throw to beat the elite defenses, and with the quarterback, Jake Fromm. He has a proven tight end, though, and I think he'll rely on his tight end and the receiver that was transferred in from Miami,
Lawrence Cajun.
He's going to help him, and the tight end for Tennessee.
I don't know his name, but I know you're talking
And
about.
I think Georgia, they will be okay, but they still, those receivers like Demetrius Robertson, they're going to have to step up.
Demetrius Robinson, Kerry Jackson.
And don't forget the freshman, George Pinkins, has got everybody going wild.
Yes.
So we're going to see what Georgia does, but the schedule, they have the right schedule. They got the right teams at home.
Right.
They have to go to Auburn, Florida, of course, in Jacksonville, but the Dogs got the talent to do it and meet back in the SEC championship game with whoever there. I'm not going to just pencil in Alabama like some people do, because this is the SEC, and it's just not that easy. Speaking of Alabama, the Crimson Tide returned 12 starters, along with the starting quarterback. I'll let you say his name.
Tua. Not even gonna try.
With 6 offenses and 6 defenses, and starters were coming back. But the Tide has always got depth. They recruit, of course, at the top level. Nick Saban also must replace coordinators, and it's gonna eventually hurt Alabama. Keep replacing coordinators, not having that stability there in the room. It's gonna cost them sooner or later.
It might cost them, but I don't think it's gonna be this year, because with the talent that they have at receiver, it's easy to call plays. Drop back and throw it. All else fails, run the ball. I mean, they have a big offensive line like Georgia, but their receiver core has got to be the best in college football right now, because they return everybody from last year, including the Biletnikoff winner.
Think about this. Everything is a copycat league.
Right.
When Alabama faced the 2 elite defenses at the end of the year, Georgia Bulldogs and the Clemson Tigers, they slowed down the Alabama offense.
Right.
Other teams are going to take that, what those teams did, and they're going to definitely get put in some new wrinkles. Alabama they won't see the same defense that they seen last year.
That those two defenses that they play at the end of the year have something in common that most defenses don't, and that's the ability to match up. They can play man against those receivers. They can get pressure with 4 up front and drop 7, or even bring 3 and drop 8 sometimes.
They're not the only ones in the SEC can do that, dude. I guarantee you.
I only see 2 defenses, 3 that I can say I feel like they can do that, and that's Florida, LSU, Auburn.
And
those are the only 3 defenses that
and they got to face every one of those.
Right, they do. The problem is LSU and Auburn's offense isn't going to score enough points to keep up.
That's why they play the game.
Right, they're gonna have to show it. I don't think they can do it, but they're gonna have to show it though.
That's why they play the game.
I look for Alabama defense to not be as good as it was the last couple of years.
It's always gonna be with replacing guys going to the NFL. You never know, even if it's a 5-star replacing them, are you gonna get the same kind of production out of that person?
It's hard to replace experience.
You know, you just sometimes talent can come in and the guy be just as talented, but he can't make the plays that the other guy made.
Right.
The knowledge of the game, and some people just got it.
Right.
And some things you just can't coach.
Exactly.
Speaking of that, number 1, Clemson, is led by a quarterback that has it. Trevor Lawrence.
He good, but they overhyped him. Because if he was as good as everybody say he is, he would have been a starter from day one. It would have been no question. But in both close games that they had last year, he played shaky in both of them that was close. In Texas A&M, if it wasn't for Kelly Bryant, they would have lost that game because he was playing shaky. And against Syracuse, he was playing like trash until he got hurt. That's just a fact.
The Clemson
Until
Tigers.
he do it in a close game, I can't say he that.
But he shredded the Alabama defense like nobody else. He cut them up like Swiss cheese. So get him at his props.
Okay, cool. He had a good game against Alabama.
Clemson has 12 starters back, 8 on offense, and I expect their offense to even be better, even be more dynamic this year.
Of course,
Only 4 starters back on defense, and that's a big question mark. I don't care who you recruited, that's a question mark.
See, a lot of the pundits or the talking heads are giving all the credit to Trevor Lawrence for Clemson's success last year, forgetting the fact that they had 4 first and second round defensive linemen that all came back and played. Like they all could have left and got drafted, all decided to come back. What do you do now when those people aren't there?
And they also shut Alabama's offense down. They had a lot to do with it because they couldn't block him up front, and they was putting Tua on his butt.
Right.
You know, and that's the way you play defense. But the defensive coordinator for Clemson does an outstanding job, one of the best in the nation,
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Brent Venables is amazing.
And he will make something happen, but he's gonna have to really work his magic if they're gonna be as good as they was last year.
I don't think they will. I don't think they can be, because even though they have talent, like everybody at the top of this list we talking about, the talent is there. Talent ain't the problem. Everybody out here recruits well. But talent and experience is 2 totally different things. So you could be just as talented, but you ain't been through those wars. You haven't, you know what I mean? You haven't had that experience. You ain't been in these trenches 3-4 years getting that much better. So,
but also Clemson is an easy pick to go to the playoff because they're in the ACC, and the number 2 team is what? It's a big gap between Clemson and the next team.
Number 2 team in the ACC right now? Miami,
Virginia
Tech, maybe.
No one is even talking about
Nobody.
someone upsetting Clemson and taking the title away from them.
Maybe Syracuse. Syracuse might be number 2.
No,
Syracuse is number 2 though. They're ranked. That's the only other ACC team I can think of that's ranked is Syracuse. They rank like 24, 23, something like that. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but they lowly ranked.
I think the Miami Hurricanes may surprise some people this year.
Think so?
I think Miami, and I'm gonna keep my eye on them. And speaking of Miami, the games kick off this weekend.
Miami versus Florida in Orlando.
And the Gators are a big favorite.
The Gators are ranked number 8. Miami is not ranked at the moment. I don't think I've said
Have
that.
you seen the points spread? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Florida's favored by 7. The last I saw.
Yeah, that's at a neutral site in Orlando, Florida. Miami. I'm liking Miami's with all the defense starters they got coming back to upset Florida. I'm looking for Miami to make a statement.
You picking Miami with
I'm
the
picking
upset?
Miami to upset Florida on a neutral field out the gate.
I'm picking Florida. And I'm picking Florida because with all the hype around Florida this offseason about what Dan Mullen has done and how Felipe Franks has taken a step forward and all this and that, their defense is going to be great because they have like 7 or 8 starters back off their defense from last season. So I think their defense is going to shut down Miami's offense. Miami still has quarterback issues. Even though they named the starter, it's an issue. I'm not confident that he's going to finish the season as a starter. So I got to take Florida in this game because Florida has an identity and they have a defense that they can lean on.
I think the Hurricanes got just as good a defense as Miami as Florida has.
They might, but they don't have offense.
I don't.
They have questions.
Florida offense ain't. That's nothing to be thrilled about.
It ain't Florida. It ain't even Florida. I'm depending on. I'm depending on Dan Mullen because Dan Mullen is an offensive wizard. Because you seen them last year, at times they look like trash, and then near the end of the season they look pretty good. They had righted the ship and figured out what they wanted to do.
But who were they playing at the end of the year?
SEC teams.
Yeah, but which SEC teams were they playing?
It wasn't
Who
Georgia.
was? Yeah, that's right. Who were you beating? You weren't beating the top teams.
They beat LSU.
They beat LSU early in the year in a low-scoring game. It wasn't the offense doing anything.
No.
It was
See,
a
the
low.
defense is gonna be this.
It was a low-scoring game and at home in the swamp. This is not in the swamp.
Pretty much.
It
It ain't that far from Gainesville.
ain't that far from Miami.
I'm guaranteed it's closer to Gainesville than it is Miami.
It's pretty much in the middle. Pretty much in the middle. And then I don't know how the tickets are probably split right down.
Yeah,
the
they probably
middle.
split the tickets because it's one of those kickoff games at Orlando.
But as the great Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan till they get hit.
I can say the same for Miami.
Right. So everybody got a plan till they get hit.
I'm still taking Florida.
It works for everybody.
I'm taking Florida. Florida, y'all, if y'all let me down, I don't really like y'all anyway.
Miami
Don't
in
do
the
it.
upset.
Don't do it. The other game is Arizona at Hawaii. Kevin Sumlin coming off a terrible season last year. People are mentioning that he's on the hot seat again. What do you think?
I don't know about the hot seat, but I think he goes to Hawaii and just crushes Hawaii. If he don't, then the seat is really going to get hot.
Really? Arizona this is a must win.
It's a
already.
must win.
This is game 1 and it's a must win already. It's that serious. The man has Khalil Tate at quarterback. Khalil Tate is one of the most gifted athletes in the country. You wouldn't know that by watching him play last year. You know, he was battling through some nagging injuries, and they wanted him to be more of a pocket passer. That's not who he is, man. That's like taking Michael Vick and putting cement on his feet. That's not what he does. He's not a statue. You have to let him be him. You have to let him play his game. You have to let him get out and run and throw. It makes him more dangerous, which makes your offense more dangerous. If you cannot do that or will not do that, you will have a bad season again this year.
I don't think the Hawaii, the Rainbows,
Rainbow Warriors.
Rainbow Warriors. I don't think the Rainbow Warriors are going to be able to stop anything Arizona tries. Personally, they can run it, they can throw it. Anybody, the quarterback want to run it, I don't see Hawaii stopping them at all. I think it'd be a high-scoring game, a big blowout. Probably beat them 3-4 touchdowns.
They should, but
That's why they got to play the game.
got to play the game. So, we went through the top 10. We've gone over the games for this week. Anything else you'd like to speak about on this?
I'd just like to say this for all college football fans: you must get your Bibles out. The field still.
Now, Athlon?
Athlon is the New Testament.
It's
The
the New
Field
Testament.
Steel is the Bible. Old and New Testament. It has the most information in it for college football fans.
Absolutely.
And you pick up one of these, you don't on any team you want to find in the country, and you'll be well informed of what's going on.
Most definitely.
And with that, we'll come back next week as the season really kicks off, and we'll have a real show next week with the big showdown games.
Oh yeah, kickoff weekend. Well, it technically start week 0, but the real official kickoff is next week. Full slate of games, conference games, out of conference games, neutral site matchups. It's a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah, I would say this week we're having salad, and next week we'll have steak and potatoes.
Definitely.
Put me in the game on 4th and inches. Coach, put me in the game on 4th